completed last week what activity?
Make a wallet.
Or a pitch, more exactly, right? So you pitch an idea, you pitch a wallet, you use the skill. So when we talk about elevator pitches, and you'll hear from our speaker today, I'm sure she gets to pitch it or to pitch every single day. Ms. Zucker does that on a daily basis. It's part of her overall brain doing. But she will also tell you that every day is actually about pitching. So however crazy this idea right here on this picture that you may see, you trying to pitch to somebody that you want to create this brand new camping, bag for your dog, okay? So how would you go about doing it?
InterTech. Today she is the chairman of the company and also serves as the chief executive officer of the historic Hudson's Bay Company. She's also known as being a part owner of the Stingrays and is the owner of the Carolina Ice Palace and is respected by many for her work in philanthropy. So without further ado, if you could all please join me in welcoming our speaker, Mrs. Zucker.
Good afternoon. Do I need to do this too? I don't know. It's great because using your voice is so important in life, and your voice is absolutely a powerful tool. So thanks for teaching them that. I absolutely believe it.
And we were successful. We screamed loudly, Dr. Shao. We said we wanted to disrupt your meeting, and you came. You see how successful of you were? So
Hey.
we rocked the room.
Whenever Anita Zucker is in town, I always attend. I can't stay for your presentation, but I did want to welcome you and say thank you so much for doing this.
Well, I'm very happy to be here. As you know, this is the part of the College of Charleston I love. Coming to speak to all of you and hoping that you guys will walk away inspired in some way. So I'm really excited to be here. Good to see you.
Well, let me just say that she hired me, so if you're not happy with me, blame her. She hired me 10 years ago. Thank you so
Can't
much.
believe it's been 10. Take care.
All right.
Thank you. So listening to a voice lesson, so one of the kinds of exercise that I'm having to do these days, because I don't have the greatest of backs in the world, I do a different kind of, I used to dance. Okay, I was really involved in ballroom dance, and so now I'm doing pipe dancing. So it's a different form with music and using weights and punches, like uppercuts and going across and going out or up to the side and then down, but we make a noise every time we do it, so it's kind of like what you were doing. So we're like, ha, 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 and then ha, when we go across and do our punches, but we're dancing at the same time, just not ballroom style. Just dance on your own, depending on the music and whatever my instructor has choreographed. So using your voice is good. It even helps with that. It gives you energy. And I love that. So today I wanted to talk to you a little bit about just some different things in my life. So these are my parents. My parents were immigrants to America. They came in 1949. They arrived in October of 1949, and they came to America without having knowledge of the English language, with basically very little money. And my sister was actually born in Germany, and she was 3 years old when she came to America, and she has totally forgotten that she spoke German only when she arrived. But all of these things played into life, and that's why I have to tell you the story of my life. So I am the child of Holocaust survivors, I was born in America after my parents got here, and one thing I can tell you, my mom's still living, she's almost 96, and our family taught us that, first of all, we have to be tough. So there's no doubt that my mother taught me toughness because we lost my father over 31 years ago. So I call her a double survivor. She survived the war, and then she rescued her 2 baby brothers, a niece, and her mother. They're the ones who survived their family. And then when my dad passed away, she was a young woman, and she had to survive again and care for her family. And so she was able to do that. And my husband passed away 11 and a half years ago, and I'm still here. And it was all about putting one foot in front of the other and taking baby steps and just keeping on going, because that's what I've been taught. Don't stop. just keep going. Use your energy. Use it to keep you going. And yes, you still have to deal with your grief when you have loss. But at the same time, my husband taught me as much as he could in the 21 months from his diagnosis that we had, and he died of brain cancer. So it was really a tough time. So I'm very lucky in that I had my mother and I had my husband to serve as mentors for me to help me prepare for what my life was going to be without my husband. And that's me, the lone child. To your left, and the other side is my older sister. They came with my parents on the ship across the ocean and me. And life is interesting. I'm showing you pictures of me through the years. And that's my mom in the green dress, and we are standing on the campus of the University of Florida, which is where I went to college, where my husband went to college, my sister went there, my brother-in-law went there. 3 cousins and 4 nieces all graduated from the University of Florida, and it happens that I'm a trustee down there as well for at least another 6 months. I'm hoping that it will get extended, but it's been an incredible learning opportunity about what it takes to take a university and move the entire university and make progress. Because what I can tell you about the University of Florida and being on a board of trustees, we are a very strategic board. I serve on the governance committee, on the advancement committee, and on the public relations and marketing committee for our university. And one thing I've learned is all about how we are governed. The fact we are a board that is an actively engaged board. We don't just sit back and wait for things to be handed to us. We work, we strategize, we come up with plans. And that's what you have to do in your lives. You always have to have goals that you want to achieve. And no matter what kind of field you're going into, and you're all interested in entrepreneurship, even entrepreneurs have to set goals. Because if you don't have goals, you don't know where you're going and whether you've achieved what you set out to do. So that to me is really important. So this is me, and I was 17 years old standing on the campus of the University of Florida. And I skipped my senior year of high school because I was ready to get on with life. And my high school gave me my diploma at the end of my senior year of college. So I was getting dual enrollment many, many, many years ago. Same picture, and then the picture on the right, that is me, that is my husband Jerry, and we lived in a mobile home, so that was our mobile home. We didn't have money, so anything we did, we had to create ourselves and make ourselves, and so both of us went to school full-time, but at the same time, I had to have a paying job, so I worked 20 hours a week all the way through college in schools, in elementary schools, because that is another of my areas that I have passion around, and that's education at every level. And my husband had to work, but we also were entrepreneurs. We started 2 businesses while we were there. And we listened to a family talk about a point system that they created. Because next generation of my family, okay, I have 3 children. But among those 3 children, I have 5 grandchildren. So that means there are these cousins. Okay, so then that generation, how do you deal with that generation? And often it's 3rd generation where you worry about losing your business. And so we need to make sure that we plan really, really well so that when the 3rd generation comes along, they will get it. And so we learned that you could create point systems. So that at that level, they're little now, but the oldest ones are 12. They can begin to do things that will give them points. So we have to put together what our point strategy is going to be. To say, if you did these things in your life, you get to join the company, or you get to serve on the board of the company, or you serve in this position, or you only get an ownership position, which you can choose to sell out to someone else, but it's got to be really specific if we want to maintain it in the family. But I love that we're doing all this planning, and it's been an incredibly interesting experience. I wish I had met this company 10 years ago, because they're great. They've helped us with everything that we need to understand, being family-owned, but also governance structures. And you know, we have a board, but we don't have any outside independent advisors, so now we want to bring in an outside independent advisor, and they are going to do some due diligence to help us find that person, because we don't want someone who lives here. We want someone truly from outside to come in and work with us and look at our business and be a part of our board to help give us good advice along the way. And I don't serve on any public company boards. However, I just recently got invited to serve on another family-owned company's board. And I'm really excited to have that opportunity, and actually I'm doing it with Jim Newsom, who is the CEO of the board, and Jack Jones, who used to run Boeing, and it's a defense contractor, so it's a really good place for the three of us. And it involves a lot of defense work, a lot of welding and heavy equipment that they're going to be barging to wherever it's going to be going because it's so big. Okay, so I'm excited because I'm getting to give these people my insight, my thoughts, and helping them develop what they're going to be like as a company. And I love that it's family owned. It makes me happy. And anyway, so we've had 2 meetings so far, and it's just been great. We have an admiral on the board as well, and just really interesting people that we get to serve with. And so I'm getting to hear perspectives. Like from the admiral, he was willing to talk about the climate in the world today. Okay, well, I wanted to hear that because there's so much going on in the world all over. I needed to hear his take on things. And so it's really quite interesting to have him talk to us a little bit and what impact can that have on our businesses. You know, so we need to always be paying attention. And for me, we do global business. And so I have to pay attention, I have to hear news, I have to listen to and look at financials daily, but I have to pay attention to currencies. I have to know what the currencies are going to be. And like if you want to sell your products in other countries or make them in other countries, you have to truly understand the currencies and the daily possibilities of the currency changes to understand the impact that can have on your company. So those are just examples of some little things I get to be involved in. And then, again, finding balance is something that, now these are my things, okay? I decided I needed to finally put some keys in. So I'm always seeking balance. I'm having a little rough time right now because I'm a little overbooked, but I love what I get to do. And yesterday I was in Nashville with Garth Brooks. Yes, he has a foundation board, and everything that we do is related to children. And I've been on his board about 10 years, but I hadn't seen him in 3 years. I've only been on the phone for our calls. And so it was really fun to be there, to be with him, and to meet some of the people that were funding and some of the projects, especially in children's hospitals. MUSC didn't want them to fund their project with the children's hospital, but they built 13 child life zones around the U.S. and Canada. And my daughter-in-law just became a child life specialist. College of Charleston has a master's in child life program. 2 cohorts at least have graduated, and these people have been hired all over the country. And a child life specialist, does anybody know about that? So they work with children in the hospital, they teach them, they play with them, they help them forget about the grief that they're going through and the difficulties, but they can also accompany these children into surgery if they have to have surgery. They can be there when they wake up. They can be there to help, to soothe, to calm, to do all these great things for children when they're in the hospital. And Garth, through that foundation, we build those, and then we train the child life specialists that just work in that system. But my daughter-in-law and I know several of them, so it's really great to see some of those people again. Plan and stay organized. For me, that's one of the most important things I have to do. I have to look at my calendar regularly. I have to make sure I'm not overbooking myself. I really have to stay organized and keep the level, the pace that I seem to go every day. And it's nonstop. But I also have to take care of me, so I'm typically up at 5:30 and working out by 7. And then I have to work at 8 because I work out at work, which is great. I have my shower there and I'm ready, and I'm there when the door's open. And I can be ready by 8:30 if I have to. So, you know, all those things are important. Use time wisely, another critically important piece. I was really bad about wasting time, and so was one of my 3 children. All of them probably were at some point. But once you really learn to plan and then also plan your time and how you're going to use it, it can really make a huge difference in your life. And I have to talk to myself sometimes and say, don't be lazy, get up and make yourself do what you're about right now. So it's really important to use your time, because the nice thing, like with college students, if you have a job, you have to even more carefully plan your time to make sure that you're going to accomplish your work. And at the same time, you've got to find the time to take care of yourself. But use your time wisely is critical. And not just if you have a job, but it allows you to do everything. And it allows you the social time you're looking for as well. If you get your work done, you plan carefully. And I think my daughter was one that learned that if she did her work between certain days, she could have 2 nights and she could go out and it would be okay during college and still maintain her grades, because I have a daughter who's really into making great grades. All my kids did well, I can't complain, but she graduated summa cum laude from grade school. Be passionate, you know that one, and that's me. I'm passionate about, unfortunately, too many things, but I would say my greatest passions are my family, education, healthcare, and I would say my business is another passion of mine. But those are some of the most important things to me. And then serve as a connector or a builder. So in the entrepreneurial world, you need to get to know who can you connect, or who can help you connect to someone. Who's that connector in your life? Are you the connector? I love connecting people. And I love building relationships, whether it's among people or among organizations. So those are very important to whatever you want to become in your life. You may not realize it today, but the connections you make are very, very important. And then never tolerate mediocrity. I want excellence in everything. You know, am I a perfectionist? I'm not really a perfectionist, but that doesn't mean I don't want things to be excellent. And sometimes perfectionists procrastinate too much. So you have to be able to overcome some of those things and move forward. But again, excellence is really important in everything that you do. Communication. I would say to me this is the most important skill. Keep the lines of communication open and flowing. And if you are not communicating, how can you possibly think that people that work with you have an understanding of what your expectations are? In anything that you do, even here in your class, being able to communicate with your professors is really important. Being able to communicate with your fellow students if you need. Being able to communicate your passion about a product that you may be creating or a business. The way you communicate and tell your stories can make you or break you. So it's like, to me, the most important skill. And then I really don't like conflict. So address issues as soon as they arise. I just had to do a mediation between 2 nonprofit organizations because they were a little unhappy with each other about certain things. But the thing that was causing the problem was their lack of communication with each other. And so they came to the table and we really opened the lines of communication and gave them the chance. First, to tell each other what their issues were with each other. You have to be willing to listen. Okay? You got to be willing to listen sometimes. And then get out what was bothering you, and each of them did that. And then they had to come up with a plan for, okay, we do want to work together, so how do we move forward? They had to come up with a plan for how they would move forward, and sometimes you have to create an improvement plan for someone that may have an issue. The key is, it's not what you create for someone. They've got to create it if it's going to impact them. Okay, so you have to let other people create sometimes. It's not about you being the creator of everything. Okay, it's great to create your ideas that you have, but you need input from others. You need input, and you've got to address issues. And right now, for me, there's a holiday that's coming up, and it happens once a year, and we have to ask people for forgiveness. And I have to ask, and most of my friends, I'm like, did I do something to upset you this year? Sometimes you have to walk up to some people that might say, yes, you did. And then you might have to say, well, I apologize, but can we talk about it? So, I mean, keeping those lines of communication open, addressing these issues, you want calmness in your life. Okay, so try to make sure you do that, and if it ever happens to you in some type of job you're in, it's really important to carefully communicate with the person you report to and talk about how to deal with issues. It's not always easy. But to me, this is really important. Ask for help. So, asking for help is one of the most important things that you can do, and you can't do it all yourself. So I think it's really important that you figure that out and that you learn when you should ask for that help. So I know I can't do everything anymore, and I love the fact that I have people that I can go to when I need help. Also, I didn't put it on here, but delegating. When you have others that work with you, learn to delegate responsibilities. Again, because you do need help. So, but you do it in a way that works for everyone. And I think something that's really important to me is also kindness and giving time to each other and respecting the people that you work with. It's so important. Then I'm bringing you something that's a little new and different. And I don't think I brought this to you guys before. So I worked with the organization, the BATF, it's at the bottom. It's the Business Higher Ed Forum, and it's made up of college presidents and CEOs of businesses around the country. There are about 60 members. They have a website. But I also funded some research that they did with Burning Glass Technologies. And they talked about blended digital professionals. So this is a College of Arts and Sciences, okay, the College of Charleston. And there's nothing wrong with the arts side, okay, the liberal arts field. But you still need to gain these other skill sets. So basically, what we're saying is that some of the most important workplace skills that you need to have are to have critical thinking skills, have analytical reasoning, to be able to have great writing skills and communication skills. So those are really important workplace skills for anybody. Okay, and then if you're majoring in business, like many of you may be in this classroom, you've got to have certain skill sets there that you bring to the table, like having the ability to manage a project, the ability to make decisions, and visualization skills. You've got to visualize. So what's ahead of me? What do I want to plan for the future? How do I see these products growing and changing? If you're creating something as an entrepreneur, is it just this one thing? What's the vision for what you're doing over the next 3 to 5 years? And then we go into the domain knowledge. So let's say you want to be in the arts. You can bring workplace skills and business skills, but you still need to have your science, okay, your domain knowledge that comes with you. So cognitive science, you have to understand economics depending on the world of work you choose. You need to understand finance, and you need to understand the visual arts. So again, it depends. If you're going to be a math teacher, your domain knowledge obviously is going to be understanding every kind of math that you need to be able to do what you want to do. But these are just really new ways that businesses are thinking today when they're hiring. And then this last piece, the digital skills. Artificial intelligence, data science and analytics, big data and data management. Even as an entrepreneur, you need to understand your data. You need to have some kind of metrics around what you're creating. If you're wanting to sell things, how many of them do you need, and then what's the price for that item, and then what am I going to make? Is there a profit? And just understand all those pieces of it. Software development is great if you have any coding skills. You can do anything today, even if you have just some beginner coding skills to begin to understand. And by the way, there is a website in South Carolina called SC Codes. You can go on SC Codes, and I think it's .org. You can learn coding for free, especially if you have a South Carolina address. Okay, SC Codes. And you can learn coding. They even have mentors on there and helpers that can help you if you get stuck on something. But having a little bit of knowledge in coding is really important in today's world because of the skill sets that brings, like critical thinking, like analytical thinking. If you're coding, you've got to be able to think in a certain way. And so it's a whole different set of skill sets that you may not realize you may possess if you've not taken the time to use this. And then programming and then information security, like cybersecurity, really, really, really important. Well, if you put all that together, you then have a blended digital professional, or you become a hybrid. You're not just a business major, you might be a business major who brings all these other skill sets with you, and so you're the hybrid professional. And today, so many companies in their ads are looking for people with more skills. And so these are really, really important, okay? So it's just some new thinking. It's been going on now for the past 2 years, and I really enjoyed the opportunity to work with these two, or with the organization and with Burning Glass Technologies. And I think it's made a difference. I made this a giant presentation like this to all your administrators. It was before Dr. Shu came, but they listened. I don't know if anybody tried to implement their other institutions where I've made the presentations or had the organization come in. It's being implemented all over the country, because when you look at jobs that exist in today's world, the jobs have all these pieces, okay, that they're requiring. Even a simple marketing job is no longer simple. So you'll see on here that it says percent of data science jobs requesting 2 human skills versus the percent of all jobs. So the orange part of this graph is showing you that human skills are still important. It's not only about computers. Okay? Your minds are really important. What you can do, and with things we've talked about, creativity, teamwork, problem solving, writing, and research. So just know that the human skills are still an important factor in all jobs. And then I wanted you to have a few little local pieces. 35,000 new jobs are going to be added over the next 5 years in this Charleston metro area. Most importantly, are we going to have the people, the workforce, the talent necessary to build these jobs? Okay, and the forecast is 32% higher than it was in 2016, which isn't that long ago, 3 years ago. Okay, and then 80% of the job growth will be 10 specific occupations. And I just wanted to give you a feel. Okay, so you have some clue. Production and mechanical, hospitality, medical, business operations support, software and IT, personal services, logistics, business management, construction, education, finance, and engineering. As entrepreneurs, you could fit into any of those spaces, create devices, create things that can be used. So I'm just going to try to get moving quickly. Very important tips for you. Take a risk, just do it. Network, 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 network. Okay? Remember, connections are really important. Focus. You really need to focus. You need to learn from failure. You need to be passionate. Again, don't forget that really important thing, having a passion around what you're doing. You need to lead through service. You need to surround yourself with mentors. I have many, and they're so helpful at times when I need them. And then avoid being a perfectionist. Learn to pivot. I'm working with a nonprofit right now, and we're in pivot mode. We have to figure out what our direction is going to be, but we've got to learn to change. Learn to love the journey. Your journey is really important, so I hope you're having a good journey as you begin. For those of you who are freshmen, love this journey. And don't let naysayers dream you. I have people that have been in my life for years that I can't communicate with on a regular basis because it's like they walk with dark clouds over them. I like to be around positive people, people that bring positivity to the table and that are happy and have great attitude. So attitude is important. Just watch me, okay? And then never stop learning. Never stop learning. Okay, some other things. Leading in uncertain times, anticipate change. Challenge convention. Leaders should always consider their options and have guts to do it, to take a chance. That's what an entrepreneur is all about. Taking a risk. Well, as a business and as a company, we are so entrepreneurial because from the time my husband really began in '82, he was always willing to take that risk. And I had to learn to accept that, being a risk taker can work. Okay, also interpret signals, read people and trust your gut. And I have to do that and decide with conviction. so important. And I love the 7 C's. Communication, my top C word, is right at the top. Caring, compassion, commitment, confidence, collaboration, and cooperation. And then I'm just going to show you some quick things. We're in aerospace. Here's our fiber company that makes, it's a specialty chemical company. PBI Performance Products in Rockdale. These are examples of things we do in that company. Even though we sold 90% of the Stingrays, we still have hockey at the Ice Palace. We have a junior team there now. I own 5 rinks in Canada, and we're trying to buy another building in Montreal. All of mine are in Ontario. Now we're in the process of finishing due diligence for a building in Montreal, because we would like to spread our company's wings in that field. We even have beach volleyball in Canada, believe it or not. It's really a fun business. Amazing to be a part of it. We're involved in real estate. We have a big real estate portfolio, lots of apartment complexes, and then commercial real estate as well. And financial services, we are involved in that. Sometimes we help people that need help. If they come to us and they pass all of our little tests of due diligence of what we require to help them, then we will work with them. We also manufacture, so are there any fishermen or women in this room? Z-Man Fishing Products. Has anyone heard of Z-Man? Well, that's our company. It's made right in North Charleston in Palmetto Commerce Park. Elastomers and polymers, soft baits. Really effective baits. Lots of Z-Man on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Tons of social media, and then we're investors in the markets. Not one market, not just New York. Globally. We invest in the markets, and I'm waiting to see what happened today because I already saw the news, so I'm curious. We also brought clean energy to South Carolina and alternative energy. We built 3 solar farms, and Santee Cooper called this week and said, could you help us look at this? We're thinking about changing and adding more clean energy things to our portfolio. It may be way too late for them because of the amount of debt that they as a company have, but those are opportunities that we get, and I love the opportunities to help when we can help. And it's because we took a chance and decided to get into this industry and got our state to buy into it. And then the other place we're really involved in innovation and entrepreneurship is at the Medical University of South Carolina. We have the Institute for Applied Neuroscience and Blink Technology. So Blink TBI, or now they're calling it eyesight, it's a machine that you can hold up. It looks like binoculars. You hold it up to your eyes. It blows a puff of air, and then they can test the blink reflex. And if you're on a field playing a sport, you get injured, and you come off the field, they can also test your blink reflex and say, you're not going back out, you've got a concussion, right on the field. So I love that we get to be involved in this kind of innovation and creativity and entrepreneurship, working with MUSC. We're also involved with giving, education, health and human needs, the environment, and the arts. And these are some of the fun kinds of things we're engaged in. And that's us. So I just wanted you to have a feel, but I have just some things from some younger people. I have 2 sons and a son-in-law that are really involved in entrepreneurship, and I call my daughter a social impact entrepreneur now. She's really involved in social impact, but finding businesses that are involved in social impact. And she finds the businesses and gets my sons, who are her brothers, to invest with her in companies that are making a difference in education and healthcare in particular. But one of my sons, okay, my oldest that I work with every day, network early and often. You never know what new connections you'll make when you meet someone new. It also facilitates surrounding yourself with great people, especially those who may be smarter or at least more experienced than you are, and who will learn and grow by their experiences. Know the ins and outs of your product or your service. If your elevator pitch isn't clear and concise enough to be quickly grasped by someone outside your sphere, like a stranger on an airplane, you're doing something wrong. Own your ideas, know them well, and stick to them only when they continue to succeed. Always be ready to respond or react to your failures or shortcomings. Learn from them and be prepared to pivot stay ahead of the game. Okay, another one, forget the words, okay? One foot can't kick two butts. Or you can't lead if there's no following. You must learn to scale your efforts through influence and inspiration rather than brute force, because you have a very limited supply of that. Empathy is your greatest power. Fall in love with the people you affect and the problems you solve, not your solutions. Use your depth of understanding to delight them and build customers for life. Let curiosity outweigh fear. Remember, no one knows the answers and everyone has the same fears. Your ability to achieve results rests on your willingness to fail and learn faster than your competition. Vulnerability and humility. Clear your mind to focus on what is truly valuable. And then the last one, don't do something you think you shouldn't just because it's the way it's always been done. Forge your own path. Take every mistake as a learning experience, others' mistakes included. Never assume you know the answers. Always be willing to keep learning and to lean on others' experiences. The people around you will make your difference. So I feel like the good news is my son, my two sons, and my son-in-law and I, we're on the same wavelength. And so I'm sorry I talked too much, but please, are there any, I can take a couple of questions. Yeah.
I have two. The first one is, what's the name of the Garth Brooks Foundation?
Teammates for Kids.
Okay. And then my second question is, where do you rank soft skills in your values?
Thank you. Good question. That's why I walked over and shook hands and looked at that's a soft skill. Anyone else? Yes.
How would you relate your success in business to your faith and like a sense of taking a lump? That term?
Yes.
I think I pronounced it right, hopefully.
Pretty close. Yeah, well, it guides everything I do. It's just a value that's part of my value system. It's about repairing the world, for any of you that don't know. And so much of what we do is surrounded by that value because if we're doing it well, we're going to change somebody's life. We're going to repair their world, whether it's through education, through products that we create. That is what our goal is. It's all about that. So yes, it's a guiding light. I don't always bring it up, but it is the guiding force behind how we operate. Thank you for doing that. Yeah.
How do you think working in education has affected your career or who you are, like how you do business?
I hope I'm still a teacher. I consider myself a teacher every day because I'm hoping to teach someone something, and I'm also hoping to learn something every single day. So it's definitely impacting my career. Great questions. Thank you.
On behalf of the School of Business and all the students here at CFC, we'd like to thank you so much for taking your time to share your story.